Hey, everyone, welcome to the Rooster Teeth podcast. I'm Gus.
I'm Brian.
I'm Eric Jeffrey Baudour.
The fuck is that? Is that really your middle name?
Yeah.
With a J?
Yeah.
I'm Geoff Ramsey. Support your presidents.
And I'm Gus. Oh, yeah, it's President's Day.
Happy President's Day, everybody.
We're pre-taping this.
Hug your president.
Yeah, it's not my President's Day. Throwing that out there.
We can quickly go around and say our favorite presidents.
My favorite president would probably have to be Andrew Jackson.
Is that some libertarian?
Yeah, that's really like
because he hated banks.
No, he's just like possibly the worst. Oh, like
Yeah.
Why the fuck would you pick Andrew Jackson?
I don't know. I just tried to pick a hot take.
Like a fucking early narcissist right there.
The funniest thing about him is that it's like the trivia I always read about him is that his parrot had to be removed from his funeral because it wouldn't stop cursing.
That's awesome.
I'm going to go with Ulysses S. Grant only because I had to do a report on him in high school. And so I knew. And he got a speeding ticket on a horse once. And that's all I know.
How do you do that?
Going too fast on a horse?
How do you regulate a horse speed?
Do they have radar guns to like?
Dude, no, I think it's just
Probably some
It's probably
complicated
judgment.
math.
I think just using like ye old eyes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
They count the
Too many
gals per
GPS.
second.
Gallop faster than a crow flying.
Yeah.
You're over the limit.
I think Shane said that. I can't see who's back there.
It was
Oh man.
Brian Gaar, who's your favorite president?
I had this is only because I got in trouble for this. We had to do I don't know if it was a mnemonic, not a mnemonic, but something. And so to figure out the president's name and what number they were. So mine was Millard can fill more holes than 13 presidents.
Wow.
And I didn't know, I had no idea what that, but I got in trouble. But that's, I know nothing about Millard Fillmore.
Oh, he was a coxman. Yeah, celebrated.
13.
13. Wow.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. Back then, that was probably pretty good. That was many options.
What about
And
you,
your life
Eric?
expectancy was like 35 years.
Yeah,
It was like
you
Eric
were an
age.
old man.
Let's see. Van Buren, Reagan,
You're one of the Van Buren boys, huh?
Bush, you can pick. I just think in the 80s is when presidents really started becoming presidents. I think Van Buren set the roadmap, and then finally Ronald Reagan, our country's greatest asset, who set us on the positive course we're on today.
Van Buren,
yeah.
president from 1837 to 1841.
So you're saying that Ronald Reagan was the full realization of Martin Van Buren?
He fully realized the vision of the founder of the Democratic Party.
Right, correct.
It was realized by Ronald Reagan.
Right, correct. But remember, Democrats used to be Republicans or
Right,
something.
right. It was before the
So
switch.
you gotta think of it that way.
yeah.
See, you have to think of it that way.
Playing 4D chess over here.
Yeah. Though I think the worst thing that happened when Trump got elected was everyone said the punk music is going to be so good now because we have something to rebel against. And I will say it's fucking terrible.
I said
and
that.
No, it didn't.
I absolutely said that. I was one of those people. I think I tweeted it.
How'd it do, man? What's your favorite punk song from
Dogs.
the
This
last 5
fucking.
years?
I listened to. There's nothing. This is fucking dog shit. It's punk is dead, and it
Thanks,
has
Trump.
been for a while.
So-
I'll tell you, Polo G. That's who you want to listen to.
Who? What?
Polo G.
Polo
The
G.
rapper.
The rapper.
Yeah.
He's a hip hop artist.
Okay.
That's where the good stuff is.
Okay.
Yeah, I was listening on the way over here.
So punk is dead, but Polo G lives.
But hip hop is thriving.
I listened to Fly Like the Wind by Christopher Cross, or Ride Like the Wind by
Ride
Christopher
Like
Cross
the Wind.
on the way here.
That's awesome.
Austin's own Christopher Cross.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Oh, yeah.
I was after I parked, I was reading up on the song.
Yep.
Apparently, he wrote that song on a road trip from Houston to Austin
Yep.
while tripping on LSD.
Yeah.
Christopher Cross lives in Austin?
I think he's from here.
He recorded that album in Austin, I think.
Yeah, he was coming up here to record that album, dropped acid, then wrote Ride Like the Wind.
By the way,
so weird.
we're guessing at this. Mike knows.
Stevie Ray Vaughan is one of the session musicians on that album.
Stevie Ray Vaughan is one of the session musicians on that album. So there you go.
There you go.
It's Christopher Cross. I think underrated guy. You get what's the
Born
was
in
it-
San-
was he
born in
on-
San Antonio.
Is he on Midnight Special and he has like that Oilers jersey on or whatever and he's playing all these songs and he does not look like he writes the songs that he does? Fucking awesome. I love Yacht Rock though. That's like my speed in music.
And that's the voice.
Yeah.
Him and
Oh,
Michael
yeah.
McDonald.
Oh,
that
yeah.
is-
Yep.
yeah.
Kenny Loggins, I think, is the guy that's right there. And then, yeah, like that's like the era of the Doobie Brothers where I go, oh, this is a really different band.
There's nothing wrong.
Incredibly different band.
Nothing wrong with Yacht Rock.
Nope. Love it. I have a whole playlist, like 6 hours long. It's great.
I didn't know there were 6 hours of yacht rock.
What was that yacht rock band from Documentary Now? You bought the album, right?
The Gene,
something Blue Jean Committee.
Yeah,
Blue Jean Committee. Yeah.
Yep. That's supposed to be Seals and Croft. Isn't that who that's supposed? That's who that's making.
I thought it was
fun of,
the Eagles.
Maybe it's just an
Are they like a
amalgamation of that
newer
stuff.
band, like trying to do that sound?
So Documentary Now is a like fake documentary show from Fred Armisen and Bill Hader, and Seth Meyers and a few other like SNL guys or whatever. And each episode, it's like hosted by Helen Mirren, like it's a PBS show, going like, remember this here's a seminal documentary from 1980, and it's this, and they're all making fun of like Grey Gardens and stuff like that. They're all making fun of it. So
Nanook of the North.
I think
Jiro likes sushi.
I think that one is making fun of it, all like those music documentaries, but the Seals and Crofts thing is definitely like where it was just like writing the most fucking pussy music, and then the guy was like, "Hey, fuck you, though!" Like it's all like this big boisterous bullshit. Is perfect. Is really good. It's on Netflix, I think. I really recommend it.
Yeah, you should.
What's it called? Blue Jean?
No, well, the show's called Documentary Now, but they made for one episode they made a fake band called the Blue Jean Committee.
Got it.
Which like
was actually 2 episodes, I think.
Yeah, you're right. It was
it's
2.
very good.
But they actually released a vinyl record.
I didn't
believe.
know that.
It's like a Spinal Tap thing.
Kind of, yeah.
So, okay.
But the whole series is worth watching.
Yep.
Like, there's one. I don't know if you watched the Wild Country documentary. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
About
With the meditators out in Oregon.
Bogdan Rajneesh.
Yeah.
They did a parody of that that is one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
with like
in my life.
Owen Wilson.
Yeah.
It's great. It's fucking great.
I really liked Documentary Now, but the problem is when they would do an episode about a documentary I didn't know, I'd be like, well, I can't watch this episode until I go watch the documentary
Because I haven't
first.
seen the original.
You had to watch Jiro Dreams of Sushi before you could watch Juan Likes Taco. Juan Likes Chicken. Is that what it's called?
The Grey Gardens one is like that's fucking it's so good.
Yeah.
That is so good.
That's
Fuck, I
like
love it.
my kids are watching The Simpsons and they're in the early seasons, and I forget how many references are just that they don't understand.
Yeah.
And so then I like when I watched Citizen Kane from the first time, I was like, oh, this is from The Simpsons. So many things
This
like
is
that.
from The Simpsons.
Oh, this is what that was referencing that I didn't know because I'm just a fucking redneck from Wichita Falls.
A couple years ago, when Millie still had a nanny, her nanny Chelsea and I were having a conversation, and I referenced something in Goodfellas, and she had no idea what I was talking about.
Yeah.
So I sat her down and I made her watch Goodfellas. We just one afternoon we watched like the first 45 minutes of it. And she was like, "I understand everything now. Like every reference to every movie has come from this.
Everything that every man has ever told me."
100%. Yeah. I watched on the plane back from Chicago when we did Face Jam Live. I watched finally Many Saints of Newark. I hadn't watched it. Who cares, right? But it's on the plane, so I'm going, hey, you know what? I'll watch this thing. Ray Liotta's in it as 2 different characters.
Yeah.
And nobody said that.
Yeah,
What?
he plays twins.
What the fuck?
It was really confusing at first when I started watching
not
it.
the worst part of that movie.
No.
Like, Ray Liotta's actually kind of good.
He
at
was it like when he's the the big boisterous character, and then when he's the other side, I'm like, oh, Ray Liotta's a good actor still.
Yeah.
It's just the problem is you always see him as like the like kind of guy.
Henry Hill.
Yeah, it's that, right?
Over
Where
the
he's
top, yeah.
but like when he's like this very like reserved guy and he goes, Miles, Bertha Cool, I'm a jazz nut. I thought that was such a good I'm like, this is great.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't spend any time with him at all.
No.
No, what? The one character that I liked, welcome to the Sopranos section of the podcast, Dickie Moltisanti, it following him, I didn't love, but he, by the end, I'm like, oh, I like this character, and nothing matters here. None of this is for anyone. None of this has any influence on anything. This is all just, it felt like fan
It's
fiction.
the Phantom Menace of the it doesn't matter. Fan fiction. Totally.
It was weird that it was a movie because it felt like it was the A story from like season 3, but like the middle of season 3 where it's like, well, this isn't really influencing what the bigger picture is, but we need something for Tony to do for like 6 episodes. And then they just condense all that into like, 2 hours or whatever. And that's just how this movie felt. It was like, oh, cut away all the B story. This is A story from a TV show. Now it's a movie.
That's a good way to put it.
And it was like,
Yeah.
oh, this is from like a middle of a season. And it's like, that's kind of
That's
whack.
kind of how I felt about Camino.
Right. It's
El
that. It's,
Camino.
yeah,
El
yeah,
Camino.
yeah, yeah. Where you're just like, oh yeah, this is.
It's
fine,
so
but
hemmed in by the source material.
Yeah.
That it felt like they just couldn't really. I don't know.
I think fan fiction is a good way to put it too.
I
Because
think
it was definitely
that Chevy electric truck commercial was better.
Yeah.
Sopranos
Oh.
adaptation
Yeah.
than
Oh, that
the
was
Many
so
Saints of Newark
good.
was.
I started going nuts. I was like standing up, going, yeah.
Do you listen to their podcast?
No.
Rob Eiler and I can't think of her name, the lady that plays Meadow. They have a podcast.
Jamie Lynn Sigler?
What? Yeah, Jamie Lynn Sigler. It's called Pajama Pants. Pretty popular.
Yeah, you don't listen to pajama pants?
Pajama pants?
Yeah,
Yeah.
pajama.
I think so.
Do you say pajama?
Pajama.
Pajama.
Pajama. Tomato. Pajama. I say pajama.
I'm not
pajama
a coastal
pants.
elite like
Yeah.
you.
I am coastal elite, and I say pajamas.
Pajama Pants podcast. Looking it up.
They just talk about.
I think.
What is it?
Did
What's
they
it
talk
about?
about Sopranos or just like?
I think it's just about their lives.
I think they're like really good friends.
Cassim
And-
G?
From
yeah.
G4.
It's as a matter of fact, I think Rob Eiler might live in Austin or might have a place in
I
Austin.
think Jamie Lynn Sigler moved to Austin because there was a New York Times story a year back or so about she and a bunch of her like friends.
They discovered Austin.
Moved to sort of did the California thing. Yeah. And
Yeah, it was in
moved here.
that podcast influx.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did an episode about the commercial.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, it just came out
Oh, funny.
on Monday.
It made me. I think I tweeted like, just make this. I don't give a fuck about. I watched this stupid movie. I don't care about this car. Make this show. I'm a slut for Sopranos.
Yeah.
Like just
Make it with her.
Yeah.
Like, make it with her and just doing whatever. And AJ's just like a complete fuck up.
Yep.
Like she's having to put him. I would watch the shit out.
Yep.
Yeah, I just want to be in that universe.
Yep.
When I first saw the commercial, and I didn't realize it was a commercial yet, but I realized we were keying into something. I thought like maybe it's a promo for like a spin-off
Yeah.
where she's like, I don't know why in my head I was like, I bet she's like a lawyer.
No,
Right.
that's
Or
exactly.
Yeah.
That's
she's
what
like
she
a
was
real
doing.
estate
Yeah, right.
agent or
Yeah, right.
something, and it's like her life after picking up the pieces
Yep.
kind of
Yeah.
thing. And then it was a fucking truck commercial.
Yep.
But I was like, there was about 15 seconds there where I was very hyped.
Yep.
For whatever was about to happen.
It was my favorite car commercial in the Super Bowl since the MLK one. I thought both of them were. Remember when they used MLK, like his family sold one of his speeches to like Dodge or Ram so they could do a thing for Ram truck. Yeah,
I
it was
don't
like
remember that
3
at all.
years ago. It was fantastic. It was the perfect indictment of like everything.
It's really that's.
There's just all these inspirational MLK quotes, and you're like, oh, this is like really, is this like for Black History Month or something? You're like, wait a minute, why is there a Dodge Ram
it's
being
like-
featured? Oh, no.
Wow.
Ugh.
It was very, I have a dream for higher wheel wells and more storage capacity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lower fuel efficiency.
JD Power and Associates will one day,
Jesus. We were talking about the Super Bowl kind of before this started. Again, we're pre-taping, so this is like Wednesday.
The Super Bowl was just a couple days ago for
Didn't-
us. We're time travelers.
Sunday.
Did not feel like it had the cultural impact or like pop culture impact that it usually does.
Kind of like the Olympics.
Dude, what is going on?
yeah.
Nobody gives a fuck about the Olympics.
Leading up to the Super Bowl and the Olympics, NBC kept running these promos that was like, for the first time in history, the Olympics and the Super Bowl together on the same network. I was like, who cares?
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
who are they?
That's only
For the first time in history, I don't
that
have to do
matters
this.
to your network.
Yes.
Yeah.
No one else
no one
gives a
gives
shit.
a fuck. Like, oh, okay. I wouldn't have noticed if they hadn't said it, and I don't give a fuck that they said it.
No.
Also, if you want to know why nobody gives a shit about the Olympics, it's because we just had the Olympics 6 fucking months ago.
Yeah.
It needs to be every 2 years.
And I'm sorry, it's the Winter Olympics.
Yeah.
And those aren't as cool.
They're not our
Obviously, the
Olympics.
Lesser Olympics.
Right. We do have a cheating Russian. That's cool.
That's cool.
Like the 15-year-old.
Isn't she supposed to be? She's like the wunderkind of like this
Yeah.
whole thing where
Yeah.
she's
She's like the best in the world.
like the best of the
Yes.
best of the best. Like no one's seen anyone like her ever. And then it's like, guess what? PEDs. And
Yeah.
it's like,
Guess what? She took her
yeah.
grandpa's medication.
Because of her
3 specific pills
her
that don't
super
belong
heart
together.
medicine.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, cool. I mean, that's what you expect from the Olympics, though, right?
Yeah, and like the inherent racism involved with the fact that she's still allowed to compete, but like one U.S. track
Yes.
athlete
Yep.
had weed in her system,
Yep.
and they're like,
After
no
her fucking
Olympics
mother
for you.
died.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like fuck off.
Yep.
Fuck all of that.
They just looked at her and they saw the hair and they're like, case closed.
Yeah.
Nope. Not happening. Yeah.
It like nobody's watching the Olympics. I have, like, my friend Sean is fucking Olympics crazy. Like, he's nuts.
Oh, he really is genuinely.
He loves.
I thought it was like ironic.
No.
Yeah.
He loves the Olympics.
Yeah, I thought he was being like super ironic about all of that.
Loves the
Oh,
Olympics.
okay.
He loves the Olympics, and even he is like not pumped.
Also, it's like the Russians who are not allowed to call themselves the Russians
Yes.
for doping
Yep.
and cheating got busted cheating again. So we're going to let them get away with it.
Keep doing it, baby.
Just keep doing it.
The Olympics
Why are we
feels,
so fucking scared of a country that's not allowed to compete in the Olympics?
That's right.
I feel like the Olympics is like the Catholic Church. Like it's kind of played out in the West. And so they're pivoting to Asia. They're pivoting like elsewhere. And it's still a big deal over there.
Right,
You know
right.
what I
Yeah,
mean?
no, absolutely.
Like I
Totally agree.
seriously think it is.
There's like 3 markets where the Catholic Church matters in the
Yeah.
world still.
And over here we're like, it's all corrupt. Like it's not even like Russia's gonna win it
Yeah,
and
it
everything.
looks very-
Like they're just gonna cover it up if something bad happens. So it's like, well, but over in China they're like, fuck yeah, man, we love it.
Man,
And
you're
Russia,
you're making a real one-to-one here. I'm on board with this analogy. I'm fucking floored. I never thought of it like that. And you fucking nailed it.
Let's start a new podcast.
Wow.
Let's just focus on this.
anti-Olympic.
Yeah.
Also, it's just watered down. But I think you're right. Like, there's too many of them now. It's like
just too
Star
Fast and
Wars.
Furious, yeah.
Like, I don't want a new Star Wars every 6 months.
Same.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's I still enjoy, but I enjoy them a little bit
Yeah.
less.
Well, when we were
every
growing
single
up,
time.
the
had a-
Summer and Winter Olympics were at the same time. Like they used to be the same year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
not
really?
the same time.
And you had to
yeah.
wait 4 years.
Yeah, it was like every 4 years, and then Summer
I
and Winter
didn't-
Olympics were the same year, and then it was
didn't
4
know-
years.
I didn't
Then it
know
was like
that.
in the early '90s they switched, or the mid
And
'90s.
I actually liked the switch. I was fine with
yeah,
it.
to do every 2
4
years.
years is a long time, but every 2 years feels about right, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a little less than a World Cup, you know?
Unless you're counting this World Cup, which it's way less than because they moved it from the summer to the winter because
Yeah.
it's in Qatar for some reason.
Wow, it's still. I can't believe they're still doing that. Talk about like corruption and
Yeah,
shit.
like
Oh
it
my
got
God.
announced, and I was like, no, they're gonna undo that.
It's 100% like, well, we have to cave to this pressure and move it to like anywhere else, right? And they didn't. They're just like, nah, we got
No, we're gonna move the World Cup.
Yep.
What we normally do in the summer, it's gonna be in December now. It's gonna fuck with every professional
Because
soccer
it's
league.
so expensive.
Yeah.
And again, in the West, we're like, we can't pay our tax dollars
Yeah.
for that anymore.
Yeah.
So they got to find some oligarch in Qatar or Bahrain or whatever. Like, yeah, I'll do it. I will kill 1,000 Yemeni workers.
How many
to
exactly
build
what
you
it
a
is. Yep.
stadium
How many
by
people died for-
2024.
Lots.
Yeah, it's like a lot.
Yeah, no human right, and it's just like I feel like like we're familiar with the tropes now. Like it's going to be all about the Americans. Everything's going to be about how they had a hard childhood. Mom had to drive them to practice. You know, it was 8 hours each way, and then they get a bronze.
Yeah.
You know, like it's all the same. We don't hear about any other country, so it's just played out. I don't know. It just feels.
Also,
as of last year, 6,500 migrant workers have died in Qatar since the World Cup was
Jesus.
awarded.
fucking, so 2 9/11s.
Oh my god.
Yeah, like 2 9/11s where the people have died.
Holy shit. That's fucking crazy.
Also, I saw at the beginning of the Olympics, they were saying that out of the, I want to say there's like 27, my numbers are off, I apologize, but I'm approximate. I think like 27 sites have hosted the Winter Olympics. And of those 27, by 2050, only one will be able to host the Winter Olympics naturally because
China's
of
doing it with fake
because
snow.
climate
Yeah.
change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
China's full of, I think something they said, I think I read something like, they spend like 500 million people's worth of drinking water to make the snow or something.
Oh, I heard they just feed Uyghurs into it. And it just out comes beautiful. That's the other thing. Like, come on. Like, all the shit they're doing over there.
Yeah.
It's like it feels a little weird. Like they clamped down on Hong Kong. They got 1 million Uyghurs interned. Like, but anyway, here's the bobsled. Like, it's just.
Monobob.
And I'm not saying we're necessarily any better, but like, geez.
No, we're not sitting on it. Listen, if you're watching this and you're like, well, yeah, but what about America? We're not sitting on a pedestal here and going, and we're the best.
We're fucked up too.
We're fucked up
fully,
too.
We fully
I'm
acknowledge that.
sure this podcast is being recorded on top of some Indian burial ground.
Sure, no,
like
shit
mass
smells
grave.
shit.
Yeah, 100%.
We know it because we are it.
Yeah.
Did you know the 2026 World Cup's going to be in North America?
Yeah.
Canada, Mexico, and the United
Yeah.
States.
Really?
Yeah, it's supposed
Oh,
to be. it's
man.
split, yeah.
That's cool.
So I was looking because you're like, no one wants it. It's like, no country wants it. Just give it to a continent.
Region. Yeah.
Have them share it.
Aren't the Olympics coming to like LA again or something?
Oh, I think so.
Isn't that
I think
happening?
there's
2032?
2030.
22. 32.
Okay.
It's like, that's this year.
Yeah.
And I think SLC might be getting the Winter Olympics again. They just put in a bid because they're one of the few places that can host it.
Yeah.
Too snow.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
We went to Sundance years ago, which is in Park City, and they have some of the vestiges of like the old Winter Olympics that were hosted out there, like the ski jump and stuff. And you can rent a tube, like an inner tube, and go up to the top of the ski jump.
Hell yeah.
And slide down like some of the old
Oh, really?
Olympic stuff that's still out there.
Did you do that?
Yeah.
I didn't do that.
It's fucking fun.
Why wasn't I invited?
You probably were.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's fair. Well, we went to Park City twice, and I only went once. So it might have been you might have gotten to go to the fun trip, like the one where you got angry and peed on a snowman.
You weren't
I
there
wasn't
for that?
there for that one. No, that was the second Salt Lake City.
Oh, yeah, that's
Or the
right.
second Park
the first
City
time
trip.
we stayed in Orem,
Yeah,
which sucked.
it was where we all I slept on a pantry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Y'all
In-
went to
in a pantry.
Sundance?
Yeah.
Y'all like shopping laser team
when we were- no,
around
when we were,
for the
like-
festivals?
We were like media darlings when Red vs. Blue first started.
We
Yeah.
had
that's awesome.
about 2 years there where everyone on Earth was interested in us.
These kids have figured it out.
And then it
These are-
stopped, and it stopped forever. Like it was literally like, hold on a second, New York Times, CNN's on the phone. Yeah, hold on. Oh, is that BBC? Hold on, let me just conference you all in. And then it was like, click, 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 click. And then tumbleweeds for the rest of our career.
And now we do podcasts.
All kinds of podcasts.
I was like that on Twitter in 2012.
Yeah.
I got like a local TV show, and like an agent called me and was interested. And yeah, never again. Yeah. So pretty much, I know what y'all are going
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
Like I had a few bangers, and it's just the sky seemed like it was the limit.
Gus got omitted from a couple of news articles, and that was it.
Oh, we
Not
talked
even. I
about
got
that.
fucking left out of some of those.
I said omitted.
Oh, yeah, I think I said I got a minute. Yeah, I got
No, you
omitted.
got omitted.
And then you got cut for space.
Yeah, motherfucker.
I
there
just
were only
found out-
there were only like 4 of us. Got fucking.
He had to work hard to cut you out of that.
Yeah, he worked really fucking hard.
We just did a test episode for a potential new show that'll come out later. in
Stop
the
saying
year, maybe.
potential. We did the first episode of a new show. We did the
And
test
what's-
episodes a year ago.
And what's the title?
No.
Good morning, Gus.
No, it is not.
We have a new podcast coming out. Cut to me. We have a new podcast coming out. Apparently in May.
It's called, to me.
It's an
this is
audio
my show.
podcast.
It's called Mind Your Business.
Okay, now back to me. All right, now then back to me. I came up with both of those names, and I think the better name is it's a. Here, let me give you the premise, and then I'll let the audience decide.
No.
Gus-
The
Gus
premise
and Geoff-
is that we've lived in Austin for a really long time, for 25 years, and it's recounting our time here and the changes of the city, but it's called Mind Your Business.
What? But there's more to it than that, because we're going to a different coffee shop in town every week, and then getting coffee, and then go sitting in a park or something, and then discussing that part of town, how it's changed, and also learning about the new coffee shops in town, because we all like coffee a lot, and we've been holed up with the pandemic, and so it's a kind of a morning show, which is why we think it's perfect to call it Good Morning, Gus.
It is not a morning show by any stretch of the
Good
imagination.
morning, Gus.
We did the whole episode recording, and Geoff wanted to like wait to reveal the name until the very end, and that got us a few more minutes of just two people being mad at each other.
I had a name. I had the name from the beginning, and I knew Gus was going to hate it.
It was awesome.
I was even telling Eric, I was like, I have a name, but we have to do it. We have to do it deep into the recording. I have to be in a way that it can't be cut out. Mind Your Own Business is a fine name, but Good Morning, Gus, I think is a much better one.
No.
And it's not a test. We already tested it. It's coming out May.
Okay, it's coming out.
It
It's going to
is?
be a new weekly podcast.
I thought we were just fucking around.
Stop.
That was it?
We fucked around a year ago and 2 years ago. We did the test.
I think my calendar invite said test.
I kept using the word test, and Geoff kept getting mad that I used it.
Test.
It's not a test. That was the first episode.
It says coffee test. Is what I was invited.
Well, there was no
Testing out the
title.
coffee.
Coffee was the premise.
Mind
Yeah.
your business.
Mind your business. I'm fine with that. It's not as good as Good Morning, Gus.
Terrible. I hate it.
I thought you said y'all went. I misheard, and I thought you said you went to every copy shop. How many Kinkos does this?
We went to
town have?
Kinko's, and we went to Staples, and we went back to
I love the
Kinko's.
idea of it's just you standing in line like with your resume, wanting it on nice paper or something.
But that's where I learned about Gus getting cut out of articles and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's a cool show where we're not worried about retelling stories. And when I say we, I mean I'm just there. It's just these two retelling stories, which is a lot of fun. And learned about Baudour and learned about getting cut out of articles.
I think that It's funny, since we recorded that test episode,
Why would you call episode 1 a test?
I've been thinking about it, and specifically you said like retelling stories. And we started Rooster Teeth podcast has been around for a long time. We started it in December 2008, but by that point the company was already over 5 years old.
Yeah.
So in this first episode that we did the other day, we told a lot of stories that predate the premiere of this podcast, and I feel this podcast is largely what's happening now.
Yeah.
Like in the moment, what are we doing in our lives, at work, all of this stuff. This other podcast is what happened.
Yeah.
Before.
It is sentimentality, the podcast. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and it's we've lived in Austin so long, and the company started here. It's like also weaving in how much the city has changed over the years. Like in our first episode, where we were sitting, I was like, I think we're on the runway of the old airport.
Yeah.
It's like,
Oh, yeah.
because where we are, like this used to be the airport, and we recorded down the street over here. It's just weird how much things have changed.
Well, that's part of the magic of it, I think, or part of the thing that I really want to explore, because it's so fascinating. Because we were all lucky enough to live in Austin at that special time when a city explodes and becomes the thing it's going to be. And we didn't necessarily know what was happening while it was happening. You just kind of look up and you're like, where did 20 years go? And where the fuck am I now? What is this place? But also we had our heads down through so much of it, working those fucking long ass 6-7 day weeks for years and years. We missed a lot of it.
Yeah,
so
really
I kind of want to talk about it to learn what I missed. Like I just discovered this band a couple months ago that I've been listening to every day. And I was looking them up on Wikipedia because I was like, I listen to this band every day. I should know a little bit about them. They were a fucking band in Austin. They had their entire career in Austin from like 2007 or something to like 2015. And I just had no clue.
Who was it?
It's a band called Voxtrot. And I really enjoyed them. And my girlfriend was like, yeah, I used to watch them play at Mohawk all the time. And my head was down editing Halo. I had no fucking clue. Yeah. And I just wondered about how much of that stuff has gone on in Austin that we just had no purview to because we were just so focused on our thing,
That reminds me, I asked my dad one time about the 60s because that was his era, and I was like, what, like, how was that, like, living through that, like, the hippies and all that? And he was like, that was like 20 people in California, and everybody else was like, yeah, me too.
That's awesome.
Of course, he grew up, he was in central Louisiana.
Yeah, right.
So
Yeah.
I don't think it hit the same.
That's so funny.
That's great.
That's really cool. That's fucking
Yeah, I read an article, though, talking about Austin changing. KUT had an article out. They interviewed musicians, and their pay has not changed. In like 2040, it's like still getting exactly the same.
I'm sure it was right next to another headline that was like, Austin rent prices increased 40% year over year.
Yeah, but yeah, it's still like, $50 a gig or whatever. It's like, wait till you hear about stand-up.
Yeah.
It's not any better.
This episode of the Rooster Teeth podcast is brought to you by Squarespace. Making websites on your own is hard, and there's so many awful website building platforms out there with limited features that make ugly, poorly optimized sites. Luckily for you, Squarespace is the go-to all-in-one platform to build beautiful online presences or run your business. Squarespace seriously has everything you could need to build a website that suits your needs, from small businesses to content creators. They got member areas so you can connect with your audience and generate revenue through gated, members-only content. Interested in building that community, Squarespace also offers blogging and commenting features so you can create a community through threaded comments, replies, and likes. Plus, they have a traffic overview feature so you can actually see how much that community you're building has grown. You've heard me talk about Squarespace for a long time. I appreciate how it's super simple to use. Everything's point and click. No coding required. With their great templates, you can get up and running in no time. I love it. I think you should give it a try. Head to squarespace.com for a free trial. When you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/roosterteeth to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. This episode of the Rooster Teeth podcast is brought to you by DoorDash. Sometimes pulling into your driveway after a trip to the grocery store only to realize you forgot one key ingredient for dinner kind of feels like the end of the world. But with DoorDash, get the groceries you need or a backup meal from your favorite local restaurant delivered. Sure, you can get meals from restaurants you love, but now you can get groceries and other essential items delivered with DoorDash in under an hour. Desperately craving a late night snack, or you forgot one key ingredient for dinner, or maybe you just want to stock up for the week with DoorDash, get it all in one app. DoorDash, so easy to use, has pretty much everything I want, even with dietary restrictions. It's simple to get exactly what you want with a tap of your phone. Like it, couldn't be easier. I always get what I want, Gus style. For a limited time, our listeners can get 25% off and 0 delivery fees on their first order of $15 or more. When you download the DoorDash app, enter code ROOSTER. That's 25% off up to $10 value and 0 delivery fees on your first order when you download the DoorDash app in the App Store and enter code ROOSTER. Don't forget, That code is Rooster for 25% off your first order with DoorDash. Subject to change. Terms apply. This episode of the Rooster Teeth Podcast is sponsored by Cuts Clothing. We're all super busy. We all have lots on our minds all the time. The last thing we need is to spend even more time and energy thinking about what to wear. That's why Cuts Clothing makes it easy. Their stuff is great with buttery soft shirts that are wrinkle-free, pre-shrunk to make sure you have the best clothing experience. Cuts views men's shirts as both an art and a science. You can slap one of their shirts on and look great without ever thinking about it, whether you're looking to mix and match colors or styles like long sleeve Henleys or short sleeve crew necks. Cuts has your back. They even developed their own patented fabric that'll never shrink, pill, or fade. It is ridiculously soft. Join hundreds of thousands of guys who have made the simple decision to elevate their wardrobe with Cuts. Get 15% off your first order by going to cutsclothing.com/rooster. That's CUTS clothing.com/rooster for 50% off the only shirt worth wearing. It's funny. We're in a weird week right now. Speaking of Austin things, we're in a weird week right now where a year ago was when that ice storm was happening.
Yep.
And like all the local news stations are like, here's a photo from 1 year ago today. And it's funny thinking back like, oh, right about now is a year ago is probably where we all were like, oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We're kind of fucked now.
Yeah. Anyway, it's 70 degrees today.
Yeah, I wore a t-shirt out.
Yeah, same. The sequel's never as good. Because we had that freeze for like 24 hours. Like, it just didn't hit the same. Because it was, you don't appreciate it unless you were here. Like, everything shut down.
Yeah.
Like, no one had power. It was nuts.
Yeah, and like I waited in line. I walked to a convenience store because I was running out of food, and I waited in line to buy a can of green beans that was 5 years expired.
No way.
I couldn't. My daughter was on the other side of town at her mom's, and it was my week to have her, and I couldn't physically get there to pick her up because I don't have a 4-wheel drive.
We went through that too, yeah.
4 miles away, 5 miles away. It was like just impossible.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Damn.
We trekked. I took the kids and we trekked down to the convenience store, which is like maybe a mile away. But like when we were just walking in the middle of the street because there were no cars. It was that first day after, just because I needed beer. I was out and it was closed, and that never happened. No, but tomorrow the next day they reopened.
Because I needed beer.
So you picked some barley on the way home.
Yeah.
It's like, well, we're just gonna have to get into this wine.
Yeah,
I guess. Like, these old ass wine bottles.
Oh man, the weather. I mean, the thing that we just got over now is that it rained a little bit, and then somebody didn't hear an alarm, so we had to boil water for a while.
Jesus.
So no, they heard the alarm. They just chose not to do anything about it.
Oh, that's good. That's cool. And then we had to boil water, and we went to Chicago. We had to explain that to people. Like, we have a boil notice, and they all went, "What's that?"
Wait, they don't have that?
Until I lived here, I didn't know that was something that happened.
Yeah, most cities don't.
Growing up in San Diego, I almost never lost power and never had to boil my water. Ever. Not like, sometimes we had brownouts like in the late 90s, early 2000s because of Gray Davis.
But that was like a scam by Enron, right? That wasn't like a real thing.
That wasn't like the wind blew kind of hard and now you don't have power, I'm sorry. Or boil your water because it rained some.
Okay.
Yeah. Never had to do that.
Or zebra mollusks or whatever.
Yeah.
Mussels.
But y'all aren't free either.
That's true. I guess that's what it is. I never had to say the Pledge of Allegiance to the California flag. So, no. Yeah, I'm truly not free.
It's the head of Austin Water, or the director, resigned the other day.
So that was the 4th water boil we've had in 3 years.
I believe so.
Yeah.
3
fucking years we've had to boil water 4 times.
But the worst for me is that guy who's the director. I don't remember if I talked about it in our test podcast or another one of these episodes, but when they had the press conference right when the boil water notice was going on, like explaining what was going on, that director stood up in front of reporters and was like, hey, on the bright side, because of the recent freeze, everyone already stockpiled water, so it's not that bad right now. And I was like, that guy's going to lose his fucking job. Like, as he was saying it, I was like,
I'll see myself out.
oh, man.
A week later, I'm going to retire. Bye, everybody.
He's like, I'm gonna go the Acevedo route. I'm the water guy in Houston now, and then I'm gonna go to Miami.
I'm going to fuck that up. Then I'm going to go to Florida, fuck that up.
That guy.
Failing upward, baby. How do you think I got to where I am?
My pressure is still weird, though. Like, my pressure is still low in my kitchen sink, but my neighbors, they're doing illegal construction. I feel like that's like they already accidentally shut my water off.
That would-
like,
yeah.
They're renovating the house, and like last night they had these big spotlights on, and they were like adding like another room and stuff, and like I'm not gonna rat them out.
No.
But it is annoying.
Yeah.
Like, and it's 11 o'clock, and I got to hear construction.
I will say, after the last time we had we lost water, when it came back on, I had low pressure in my kitchen sink as well, and I called a plumber, and he showed me what happens sometimes. And I'm not saying this is the case with you, Brian, but you might want to take a look at it. If you take the end of the spigot off, there's a little filter there to catch sediment and shit, and sometimes like it'll blow through sediment and it'll clog it, and so I just like blew that out, and my pressure was fine.
Okay.
So,
All right.
It's like a little mesh screen.
Yeah, it's like a little mesh screen,
aerator.
and it just catches particulates, and there aren't that many, but if the water's off for a while, they can like
Put it
build
out.
up.
Okay.
Didn't you also have some kind of like pinhole burst in a pipe or something?
Do you mean when my iron pipes disintegrated under my house and collapsed?
I guess that's what I meant.
And and I was shitting into the earth?
Oh, I've done that.
Yeah, that,
This
you
is
mean
worse
the
than, like,
$40,000 hole that I had to build under my 15-foot deep trench that was 5 feet, 15 foot. I guess the depth of 15 feet 25 feet under my house that was 5 feet tall. That was there for a month. Yeah,
That's what. Yeah,
that's what it was.
That's
Pinhole.
Pinhole.
That's what I
Pinhole.
meant. Pinhole.
When I lived over on the east side, my main sewer line collapsed, but thankfully it wasn't under the house. It was like out in the yard.
Oh, okay.
So we just had to
Wow.
rent like a backhoe.
Was this in your little person house?
Yeah.
Okay.
And when they dug, when they dug the pipe out, the plumber said, "I don't think I've ever seen this. It was cast iron pipes surrounded by concrete."
Oh.
Yeah, and he was like, "I guess there was a brief window of time where they constructed sewer pipes like this in the 40s."
This was legal.
Wow.
He's like, but he's like, I've heard of it. I've never seen this before.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and for me, we didn't have to do anything in the house. Just had to like dig up the yard and redo the sewer line in the yard because I was shitting out of the house into the front yard.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's
Yeah. You're like,
look at all
oh,
these beautiful flowers.
yeah, my front yard smells kind of bad. What could it possibly be? There's a perpetually wet spot right here.
Yep. Oh, I hate hearing about these things.
Oh,
'cause
me
they
too.
just give me anxiety.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh, it's the worst.
I'm sitting on a cracked foundation right now, I think.
Yeah, I think I'm having settling issues.
Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
tell. Like, I just don't want to deal with it yet.
Speaking of a cracked foundation, how's your teeth?
Are you talking to me? I'm okay. I have to go get a root canal tomorrow.
Have you had more root canals than boil water notices? Which one is
This will be my fourth root canal.
On 4 different teeth?
No.
On- what do you
this
mean?
is a redo. This would be a redo. It got people are gonna say I'm crazy. I think it was COVID.
Get out.
I'm serious. I was fine when I had the COVID, and then my tooth started hurting. I went to the doctor or the dentist, and she goes, "It's really weird. Where we did the root canal, there's just an inflammation there. There's like they gave me some antibiotics, and now it's fine. But I think I still got to get it taken care of. And it just happened at the end when I had that lingering COVID forever. It wouldn't go away. It was hiding in my tooth the whole time.
Yeah, they don't know what it does yet.
Yeah,
They don't
well,
know
I
the
was reading
full
about it online.
information.
Well, I was reading about it online. They were like, there's some data that suggests that it can cause inflammations in your mouth and it can weaken teeth and stuff. And I mentioned that to the dentist, and she goes, "I don't know what the fuck you're talking about."
Yeah. Well, Jeff's doing his own research. He's a
Yeah,
do my
did
own
my own
research guy
research.
now. Yeah.
And I Googled it.
Yeah. I go.
Yeah.
COVID, teeth, mouth? Question
So
mark.
I think I'm getting a root canal tomorrow. I don't know, because the lady was like, "I don't have the specialty equipment to do this one, so I got to send you back to the guy that did the first
Specialty
time." So,
equipment.
yeah, they got to get in there.
How's the pain? Because you were like dying.
It was some of the worst pain I've had for about 4 days, and then the antibiotics and Motrin have helped. Wow. Yeah, it's gone now. It's like it doesn't hurt at all.
Oh, you don't need the root canal. You're cured. Yeah.
Well, fingers crossed, right? Knock on the wood, but I don't think.
Smooth.
I think that's an indication of if
Yeah.
he's gonna need the root canal. Just fucking
What causes the need for a root canal? Because I grind my teeth, and I've had like terrible problems.
When you get
with
an
that, but-
infection in the root, yeah,
and they got to pull it out.
It's like
Yeah.
the cavity gets
so deep.
because there's the reason you get a cavity filled is that it stops it from, I think, eating up into like the
Getting
tooth and everything.
worse.
Right.
Okay.
And so what happens is the cavity goes unchecked or whatever, or cracks or from grinding your teeth, things like that. Open essentially the tooth up into where like the root is.
the root, yeah,
and and then they have to go in and like
Scoop it out.
kill the root and pull it.
Yeah, and sanitize it.
That is what a root canal is.
Yeah.
They canal to the root.
I had one for the first time last summer. I hate going
me
to the
too.
dentist.
Yeah.
I had one last June, I think. It was not as bad as people make it out to be. It's
Agreed.
It sucks.
One of my 3 was bad.
Yeah.
Two of them were okay.
It wasn't like agonizing pain or anything. It's just like, oh my God, I got to lay like this for 2 hours while they do shit. And then they're like, we're not done. This is temporary.
Yep.
Come back in 2 weeks and we'll do another 2 hours to finish it.
Yeah.
It's, to me, the most exhausting part is that I tried not to move because I like giving you a clean canvas to work with, man. Just do whatever you need to do to my mouth. So I was, instead of relaxed and like, okay, he's going to do this stuff, I was like,
clenched for 2
hours.
Yeah.
And then I got in my car. It was done. It was numb and everything. And I got in my car and went, whew, and then could have fallen asleep probably right there if I wanted to.
Yeah.
I was, it was like I'd run a marathon. I was exhausted just from for the entire time.
Yeah.
It was tough. That sucked.
Yeah.
So anyway, good luck.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, dude, no problem.
Hopefully, I'll be ready to film after.
Well, yeah, we're supposed to record Fuckface tomorrow, maybe.
And annual, I have to do annual pass, right? My root canal's at 7:30 and annual pass is at 10.
During the process of the root canal, at one point, like the dentist is doing it, then she like pauses for a second and she tells me, I don't know how to describe this, but this next part's going to feel bumpy. And I was like, bumpy, what does that mean? I don't know what machine they're using, but it's like, I felt like I was on a bumpy road. Like, and it went on for like 15 seconds. She was like, okay, that's it, I'm done. And like, I don't want to know. I don't want to ask, but I was like, that was really bumpy.
It was just a different setting in the chair.
That's why they're always like, do you want to see a picture? I'm like, no, I don't. I don't
want to see a picture.
I don't want to know what any of that looks like. I don't.
My
I
suggestion.
can imagine what a bloody hole looks like.
Yeah, right, exactly. My suggestion is bring headphones. Just put something in and just play something and go like, I'm anywhere else.
My fear, I thought about that. My fear is always that they're going to ask me to do something or like I need to move. It's like I don't want to like be able to hear and respond. Like, I don't want to impede them in any way.
Totally understand. Totally understand. It really, man, that really helped me. Having headphones helped me like crazy.
Yeah.
Man, going to like the dentist I hate it. It's like miserable. And there are people that are like, oh, look, my dentist is fine. There's like a TV screen and like you wear like these headphones. They put on these sunglasses and like you watch something on Netflix. And I'm like, what dentist do you go to where they have Netflix?
With my dentist, it's always HGTV.
What?
And
Yes.
I'll never forget when I got my root canal. I couldn't see it because I was leaning back and the TV was in front of me, but I could hear it. And then they're like, all right, you're all done. And they put me up and they're like, you can leave. Like, no, it's like, no, I need to see this $40,000 deck that I've been hearing about because I don't know how they're spending $40,000 on a deck and I need to see it before I stand up and leave.
It is always the same HGTV shows, too. It's like the lady and her mom, or it's like the dude and the lady and
that's every HGTV.
Well, like
you're describing them all.
He tries to convince people to sell, and then she tries to convince them to fix it up. Love it or list it, or fix or flop, or whatever. Yeah.
No, you're right. Love it or list it.
It's always one of those. Because Gus and I go to the same dentist. So we watch the same programs.
I go to my dentist. He's older, and the office looks like it was like finalized in the maybe early 70s. So there's no TV. He's super nice, and I like him a lot because he's super nice. But he does get like, he'll just start asking me questions when I'm like, he's doing like, so how many kids do you have again? And if I can't answer with, then it's not like, but he'll just keep going. It's like, I don't want to, but like, I can't close and open my mouth at this point.
I'm the dentist we go to, like every now and then she'll ask me a question and the same thing, I'll give like a weird answer and then she'll like, oh, and then she'll like, I can acknowledge, like she's not just going, like she'll acknowledge what I said. And the hygienist is always like, how do you understand him? The hygienist is like, well, call her out. Like, I can't understand a single thing he's saying. How do you understand what he's saying?
Yeah.
That's cool. I guess when you just do it long enough, you're like, it's just like speaking another language. You just got it. You just got the knack. You got the touch. That's cool.
I made the mistake of, at my kid's daycare, one of her teachers is deaf. And so I learned the sign for thank you. I just wanted to say,
it's nice. Yeah.
No, it's great, but now she fucking thinks I can sign. So it's not like I came and she wasn't there and my kid wasn't there and she just like was off to the races. I was like, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm just gonna wait right here. And think.
It's like when I love watching 90 Day Fiancé, and it's like the same thing when an American goes overseas to visit someone and they only learn like one or two phrases of that language, and it's like that's it, that's their wheelhouse. Like they're gonna live with gracias and te amo. And like that's it. That is the extent of the effort that's been put in, and we're gonna listen to that nonstop.
Yeah. Thank you.
Do you think Duolingo works?
My girlfriend has been doing it for like 74 days straight, and she's basically fluent in Italian.
Whoa.
I'm not kidding, dude. Her and her dad both started it because we were going to go to Italy at some point in the future. And
she starts fights with you. Like,
yeah, no, it's
like, throws her dinner at the
fucking
wall.
crazy. She was just like, ask me an animal the other night, and she nailed. I ran out of animals to ask her.
Really?
She just knew everything.
Wow.
Yeah, it works really well. I did it for about 2 weeks to learn Spanish.
How'd you do?
I was great, and it's almost like a video game. It's fun. I just, I got bored and moved on, as I would with any game on my phone.
Yeah. Right.
But no, it's. I think it's actually a pretty legit service, and she seems to be really retaining everything she's learning.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I want to try.
Do it.
High school Spanish wasn't my strong suit, but I have enough just from being like growing up in like San Diego, just kind of around it all the time. So it's like, I'll try it again or whatever. I've been making. I've been learning how to sew and making like lucha masks. Not a lot of tutorials in English or English-speaking people that make them. So, watching a lot of YouTube videos of guys talking what feels like incredibly fast, while the closed caption does not keep up with them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but how do you? How does that seem? How do you do that? Like, I want to ask these questions, and it's like I'm not just going to put it through Google Translate. So I've been trying to like pick up on Spanish that way, and I just go, I think it might just be, I think I gotta like learn something.
Yeah, do Duolingo. Manzana. Apple.
Yeah, no, I got that. Yeah.
Beautiful pronunciation, by the way. The accent was not in the wrong place. Don't let anyone tell you that.
Well, it's been about a year since I do.
That's why it's been a year since the 2 weeks I spent on my phone with that little green owl going, do it again.
My Duolingo's like an ex that we like dated in 2006. And like, I'll hear from him on Christmas.
Yeah.
So, just like every now and then, like, hey, what's up? Still here.
Want to chat for a bit?
Yeah, like, not really.
I will say the Duolingo TikTok, if you've never experienced it, is like the best TikTok.
What is it?
They just have that little owl, that little green dude.
Yeah.
They have like a I don't know, a mascot, and they just do all the TikTok trends and stuff with him. But it's just very funny and very clever, and it's very well. I know because I get 40 of them in my face from my girlfriend all day long. But it is like they are doing social media right. Yeah. I actually think Rooster could learn a lot from the Duolingo.
From the Duolingo owl.
The owl's adorable. I'm going to say that. I'm looking at.
We can learn a lot from the Duolingo owl from language and also TikToks.
And it's also the owl is always like hitting on Dua Lipa. There's like this whole Dua Lipa connection. That's very funny too.
That's very funny.
Yeah,
that's good. Maybe I'll try it. I don't know. It feels like a thing where it's like I gotta like take it seriously, or I gotta like stay at the level that I'm at, because
what got you into lucha? I mean, I know you're a wrestling fan, but just
growing up with like Lucha Libre on TV when I was a kid, I was always really like, 90s WWF was like, this guy's a trash man and this guy is a robber.
Sure.
And
this guy stutters.
Yeah, it's that. That's a real gold dust stuff. Watching Lucha Libre was like watching a totally different thing. Like that. What is it? I think they call it like a llave style. I think llave means like key.
Llave is key.
Yeah. So that's the style that they call it. And watching that with like the look and the pageantry and everything of it was like, this is night and day. This isn't Stone Cold Steve Austin. This is like this big barrel-chested, like round-bodied guy doing flips and dives, but having like such a cool, like this glitter gold look. And you're like, this is fucking incredible. I thought it was so cool. And I'm like, I've always wanted to kind of like learn how to do it. And there's a couple of people out there who there's something that I follow on Patreon called Closet Champion. A guy named Ophidian is a wrestler in the US, and he's kind of like teaching. He's like, here's my tutorials on how to do this step by step.
Yeah.
So I bought all the stuff and the right materials and just sort of like I've done like 6 or 7 now, and I'm just kind of like put them together and everything. And then I found another guy named Lince Dorado who wrestles in the US. He was in WWE, and now he's just sort of like independent. And he does all these streams on Twitch where he's like, here's how I sew all this stuff and here's how I do it. he, I think, smokes a lot of weed, and then he's like, here, I'm just like, fucking watch me. I'm a cat. I'm gonna fucking sew this shit, and it's like really cool. To get deeper into that world, like that's like this, like the surface level. Now I'm following a bunch of Instagrams who link me to like their YouTube channels that are all in Spanish that I would never find otherwise. Where I'm like, these are fucking like like the craftsmanship and everything is incredible.
They're like masters.
They are. They are. Those are the guys who make the stuff that you see on TV and see on pay-per-views and like they were like the AAA and CMLL and all this stuff and like the guys that are like the guys. They make that stuff. And watching, I'm just like, I've always wanted to just learn how to do it. So during quarantine, I needed something that wasn't just on a computer, or I think I would have ended it. I think I would have just gone nuts. I think I would have gone like fucking crazy.
We were betting on it actually.
Yeah. Well, I was close. So I decided I've never known how to sew. I'm just going to buy a Singer machine, a little Fashion Mate. I'm going to buy some thread. I'm going to take these piles of old Rooster Teeth t-shirts that they leave out that are just 4-way stretchy.
Oh, they're everywhere. Yeah.
And start cutting them up and sewing them together and see what the fuck happens. And so I have some real shitty ones, and then I can see where I'm progressing. And now I'm getting to the point where like the material that I need, I have to go deliberately I have to buy like marine vinyl.
Where do you go? Because Joann's Fabrics doesn't have marine vinyl, do they?
They do.
Oh,
that's the stuff that you never think to look at. Yep, exactly. So baby. I went. They have like a lot of shit on sale, and so I found some like 4-way stretch spandex, and it's like glittery black, and another one that's like the snakeskin, and it's like fucking cool. And now the marine vinyl that I need is like that thick stuff. The problem is it's a little expensive, but also I don't have kids. I can spend money on whatever the fuck I want. But I have to. But I have to like. I'm like lazy. So I have to like go and get it.
Does it become difficult with the sewing machine you have? Like, do you need like a more industrial one to sew that kind of stuff?
I need to get more of like that. You know, right now it's like that Sewzall kind of like whatever needle just for like little clothes. I need to get like that, like a denim stitching, like a thicker needle, so that way I can punch through more easily. And I have to use like this silicone spray, so that way the machine doesn't like catch on the vinyl and the spandex. It makes it all kind of like one easy surface that it glides across. So it's just like, I'm like learning all like these little tips and tricks sort of by watching these videos and going like, what is rudimentary Spanish? I'm like,
well, it's not even, I bet it's not even rudimentary. Like you're learning you would have to learn very specialized words. Like I would offer to help, but I was like, I don't know any words related to sewing, so I'm sure I would watch it. I'd be like, I have no idea what the fuck they're saying.
Yep. And that's how I learned like stuff like that. Yave style of wrestling, of Lucha Libre, that's what they call it. And I don't know why it's called ki. I don't know. I have no idea. No fucking clue. But it's just a word that I know.
In wrestling, too, there's so much slang. You know, from like, at least in the U.S., from Carney days and everything. I don't know how they wrestle in those masks. Like the amount of flying that they do, and then to have your vision possibly limited.
Impaired? I have some friends who wrestle.
Oh, I didn't know this.
What?
Llave also means hold.
Oh, that's it.
Oh. So it's to put someone in your grasp.
Yeah, there you go.
Sure.
So that makes sense. I have friends that wrestle in San Diego, and they'll wrestle a lot of people like Lucha Libre stars. They come up from like Tijuana and wrestle in San Diego and stuff. And I always ask, like, how do you don't speak Spanish, they don't speak English. How do you have a match like that? And they're like, it's weird. Like the language is wrestling. Like we know there's a cadence,
it's a tactile thing,
where it's easier than having a conversation is just like getting in the ring and like moving through. You're like, well, I know I'm going to do this spot, and then he's going to do this spot, and we know we're going to do it kind of like this way, and we know what the finish is. So now it's putting together 7 minutes in the ring to get to that point. And building and building and building, and that's the language that they speak. It's fucking crazy.
That's awesome.
It's so cool how it's so different, like Mexican wrestling versus Japanese wrestling versus like UK wrestling, which is like different from American.
I didn't know UK wrestling was a thing.
Yeah, it's it's that catch as catch can. You'll see
sort
like
of stiffer, I think.
It's like that, like, you know, it's like a wrist lock into a different wrist lock, and the guy does like a spin to get into a headlock. It's a lot more of like the grapply stuff.
You remember the British Bulldog?
Classic British Bulldog stuff. They were talking about my favorite stories of hearing about like Lucha Libre guys was they would come up that in Mexican wrestling, you can work a style for a really long time because you don't take huge flat back bumps. You roll through everything. So when you hit the mat, you're not splat.
Yeah.
You are hitting it and rolling through. So you can just work like that forever. So all the guys that would come up from Tijuana would be like Super Porky, which is he died I think like last year. And it would be my friend going, we'd be backstage and Super Porky was just this big fat guy. And he wrestled all through like the 80s and stuff. And he would just be in his trunks, but like pulled down with like his ass out because it helps him cool down faster. And that is just
awesome.
That's the locker room. There's nothing glamorous about it. Everyone's like, oh wow, pro wrestling is so cool. And then you see Super Porky with his ass out and you're like, that guy's a fucking legend.
You look him up and his first image on Google image search is him with a giant piece of ham.
Yeah. It's what was his?
Live
was
on the hammock, baby.
Was he? Yeah, that's Super Porky. He was he was Brazo de Plata, I think, and he was in the he was in like that family of
Silver Arm.
Yeah.
They're with him, Silver Arm.
Yeah.
Sense. Okay.
Yeah. So that was when he was younger, and then he became Super Porky, big Super Porky guy. So it's very cool. It's pro wrestling. I think is a very universal thing because it's easy to watch theater. It's very easy to just see like a performance, and the different style just lends to what the culture is. That American is very like Hulk Hogan, and you have like that Yave like crazy submission, high flying style in Mexico.
And there's a lot of comedy in it too.
Yeah.
Like, very different.
Japanese wrestling is very like how hard. It's all about like the baby face like fire. You know, you want like the guy coming up from like underneath, so like the bad guy's beating him down and beating him down and beating him down, and then how much fire can you have as like the good guy that you can like rally the crowd behind you, and how much of a beating can you take before you start fighting back? Fucking crazy. It's really crazy the amount of work that goes into this stuff, and that's why you see these guys who are like jacked and shredded, because if your job was to just not have any clothes on all day long, that would be the rest of your job, was to make sure that you look good like that.
Like Super Porky.
Like classic Super Porky.
Getting in the ham zone over there.
That's Lucha Libre. It doesn't matter. You don't have to be. There are guys who are that big, right? Like Blue Demon Jr. and stuff, who are like, like the big. But then there's guys like Super Porky who are just like, I'm just getting by. I'm doing like the shit I've always done. And everyone goes,
dudes.
Everyone loves it. So, and that's the wrestling segment. Thank you.
we already covered Sopranos segment.
Right.
The wrestling segment.
I brought you guys gifts.
You brought us gifts?
I did.
Are you serious?
One for everybody. And they're thoughtful gifts,
the Christmas
too. I planned
segment.
it out.
You said that you had props. I'm excited.
Well, obviously, I brought the Boys of Zimmer flag because so Gus could be even closer to me.
Wow.
Right behind you. That's available in the RT store right now, I believe. If you don't hang that from the front of your house where your American flag used to be, you're not a real new American.
I salute Andrew Panton every day.
Yeah. All right. So here's what we got. I got in my traveling case, which is the pink porta potty.
What? Oh, you have stuff inside of it. Oh, I see.
Are we gonna do some
Feels like
breaks here?
college, and we're about to get stoned.
I like to always.
My mom will never find this stuff.
Bring gifts from a friends. These are curated.
Okay.
So Eric, I got you wrestling cards. Brian, you're old like me, so I got you Terminator 2 cards.
Nice. Saw it in the theaters.
I got myself baseball. I'm gonna go on a Zimmer hunt.
That's cool.
And then Gus, I got you your favorite band, New Kids on the Block.
Just what I wanted.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I don't know
cool.
how many of those Topps packs I've opened up in my life. That one that you have in your hand right now?
Is it like that specific one?
Yeah,
that,
that
like,
1987
with the
Topps,
gum.
yeah.
And
Let's see,
it's
if,
still,
you got anything good.
I actually don't think there's a Zimmer in here, but
Oh, no.
I got Cal Ripken,
Hey!
Gary Carter.
The Iron Horse.
Actually, Cal Ripken's nice.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Juan Bonilla,
All right.
Frank White, Wade Boggs.
Wade Boggs.
man.
Loving Wade.
All-star card.
That's cool.
What do we got here? Tim Conroy, Steve Boros manager card. Charlie Liebrandt, Dave Steeb, Ruben Sierra.
Okay.
And that's it.
Nope. Okay.
No Big Poppy?
Cal Ripken Jr. is the winner.
How about
there.
you, Brian? Anything good from Terminator 2?
It's interesting.
Did
There's
you get an Edward Furlong rookie card?
Did you get a?
I got there's like a lot of behind the scenes stuff. Like here's James Cameron just sort of I don't know directing something.
Oh.
Making money.
So
Just
far,
like
this is
Titanic.
my favorite. It's just Arnold Schwarzenegger, and it says the caption is Terminator gets back up.
That would be a headline today.
Yes,
Like,
yeah.
Arnold
Yep.
falls
In
down.
'91, I don't think that was like card worthy, but
Classic Terminator stuff in this pack.
Here's him jumping in the motor. 700 pounds of airborne Harley. So, yeah.
Pretty cool.
And
Let's
the little
see.
behind the scenes, trivia.
You guys feel free to keep those.
Thank you.
Well, yeah, they're gifts. What are we gonna do?
This is Reggie.
This is my favorite part.
He's the 24/7 champion. He's from Cirque du Soleil. That's where he came from. He does a lot of flips.
Eric has
perfect.
never. We've opened a lot of wrestling cards
Yep.
on the Fuckface Break show, Fuckface Break shit, where we do this once a month. And Eric has never not known 86 things about every person on every card. It is fascinating to me.
This is Edge. This is his surprise return at Royal Rumble last year. That I guess was it this year? No, it had to be last year. Oh no, 2020. So it was 2 years ago because it was before. It was
yeah.
So he's now wrestling again after having spinal stenosis and having to retire for like the better part of a decade.
What is spinal stenosis?
It is where your like there's like a fusion part in like your neck and like your spine, and if you take too many bumps after that and they find out you have it, you die.
He should have been key rolling like all the
Why didn't he
luchadors.
do that?
Yeah.
It's an abnormal narrowing of the spinal canal.
Yep. So you die.
And magically it got better.
Well, I think what happened is
Steroids.
a lot of stem cell replacement, which is what Rey Mysterio did for I think his knees. A lot of stem cell stuff, a lot of rehab, and just the he had to retire in like the early 2010s or something, and then I think just medicine changed, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's cool.
This is Eva Marie. She worked at WWE and then got let go, and then came back, and hey, guess what? Got let go again. So, whoops.
But still making a card for her,
There
though.
you go. Cedric Alexander, part of the Hurt Business. He does a move called the lumbar check. Fucking coolest finisher probably in wrestling. I think he's great. I don't think he's being used well in WWE, but don't worry about that.
Hurt Business is a great name.
Yeah, right? Not bad. Drew McIntyre. This is Drew McIntyre. Apparently, after he defeated Angel Garza, who is Hector Garza Jr. from Mexico. You might recognize his father. But Drew McIntyre, Drew Galloway from the independent professional wrestling circuit, former WWE professional wrestling heavyweight champion. He carries a sword to the ring. Robert Roode, Bobby Roode. He's a tag team with Dolph Ziggler, and he is got a big old beard. And he came out to a song called Glorious, and now he doesn't do that anymore.
Is he related to Ravishing Rick?
He is
Or like
not.
Is he kayfabe
No,
related?
yeah, no,
Oh, no.
nothing
So-
at all.
okay.
That's his actual name, which is the weirdest part. Here's Elias, who was on TV all the time, and then had his last match like in July of last year. Has not been on TV since. Don't know why. They started running segments for like Elias is coming back, and then he did not come back and has not been on TV for the better part of a year.
Do we know if he's still alive?
He is still alive. He's apparently in the new WWE video game in his new gear that he has not debuted on television.
Long COVID.
Pretty
Long COVID.
weird.
Yeah.
Pretty
All right,
weird.
watch. I'm about to do that exact same
All right, here we
thing
go, baby.
with New Kids on the Block.
All right,
I'm
hit me
gonna
with the
name
Wahlberg info.
all the trivia
Hit me with it, baby.
about all of the different New Kids. This pack is barely held together. Who do we got? We got Jonathan, who I did not know was a New Kid on the Block.
Oh, is he the ugly
Yeah,
one?
The
no.
older. He
Yeah,
was like
yeah,
the,
yeah, yeah.
He had the
old
coolest
one.
hair.
Yeah.
Okay, on the back is part of a puzzle.
Part of a puzzle, yeah, puzzle piece. We love those.
Oh, we got all of the NKOTB looking cool, looking down.
wow.
They're on stage.
Looks like they're hanging tough.
They're
Yeah, they
performing,
are.
I think, in Hamburg, Germany. Here.
Is this old school or is
That's
this
how the Beatles
present
got their
day?
start in
it's
Hamburg,
old.
Germany.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is 1989.
Okay. All right.
I was 3.
Oh, finding the Fab Five. Donnie knew his talented schoolmates could make it as New Kids if he could get them to audition. So Danny Wood, Jonathan, and Jordan Knight showed producer Maurice Starr they had the right stuff.
That's one of
To
those
find
songs.
out what happened next, see the next New Kids card. But please don't interrupt. We got Jordan Knight here.
He had a song called "Give It
Looking
to
off
You."
to the side. He looks like he's mid-conversation, like he's talking to someone. Not a great photo, if you ask me. We got we got the man here, Donnie Wahlberg. Donnie's discovered here, looking super cool.
The tough one. He was the
He,
tough one.
yeah. He killed Bruce Willis
What are you talking about?
in The Sixth Sense.
In The Sixth Sense.
Oh yeah.
I was thinking of Wahlburgers, and then you said that, and I went, what do you do with a hamburger? I couldn't. Man, I got
He
fucked up.
killed him with a gun, I believe. He didn't use a hamburger.
His younger brother also committed racial hate crimes when he was younger. A little bit of trivia for you there. I got Jonathan Knight here. He's pointing at you because you've got the right stuff apparently. Maybe you're hanging tough here with I think it's also Jonathan.
Jesus, dude.
This is the J-Pack.
Get a Joey already.
We got
Yeah.
I don't. Who the fuck is this? He looks like Paul McCartney to me.
Well,
I think that's Jonathan.
Is it Jonathan again? Did I get 3 Jonathans in a row? That never happened.
We're looking for on-card autos here.
you got a Jonathan Turkey, dude. Congratulations.
Let me know if they have a Joey Prism.
If this were video games, this is when you would complain to the developer.
Yeah, 100%.
Something's bugged.
Yeah.
Another new kid. I don't know, but the back of this card is great because it highlights social issues. It says the new kids are glad their celebrity status gives them the chance to make fans aware of important social issues like education, crime, and drugs.
Nice.
Using their platform for good. And finally, got a little black and white photo of
the
all the
gang.
kids
OG.
being good
Wow.
friends.
The gang.
Card number 52.
They
in the
were
set.
good friends. You know, I've been watching Celebrity Big Brother this season. I don't know why.
Who's on it?
Let's see. 2 of the housewives, which is why I started
Oh, it's a
watching
sticker.
it.
Ooh.
Shanna Moakler, Todd Bridges, Lamar Odom.
What?
Yeah,
Wait, Todd Bridges, like Willis?
Willis,
Wow.
as in like the only person left alive from that
From
show.
that show, yeah.
Wait, Lamar Odom?
Yeah. And he spends every opportunity talking about how he wants to get Chloe back. Like, it's really sad. It's really, I felt really bad for him.
That ship has sailed,
Because that
dude.
ship sailed, and then there were other ships, and then those ships sailed. And like, he's got to be so far down on the list of people that she
Right.
wants to reconnect with,
Yes.
you know? Who else is on there? There's a dancer dude who I'm not familiar with. But one of the dudes from not New Kids on the Block, the other one, NSYNC, it was on there. He got voted out.
Which one?
I don't know his name.
Joey.
No.
Chris.
Yes.
The one with the
Really?
dreadlocks.
Oh, is he had the hair? He
Yeah,
was the one with the
yeah,
hair?
He's the older dude, I think. Yeah. He and Shanna Moakler were buddies.
There's a lot of people in this cast. I'm looking at it right now.
Who else the cast? So it's Teddy.
You got Chris Kattan?
Chris Kattan
Chris
is-
Kattan is on there. That's
Yeah,
I was going to
mention
get
him.
there.
Oh, I saw him on Twitter. Somebody tweeted about
Oh, Carson
the show.
Kressley is on there. He's the best.
Who's that?
He was one of the original guys from Queer Eye.
Oh,
the
I
original
know.
Queer Eye.
Yeah. Okay. Blonde guy.
Yeah, he's awesome on it. But anyway, the dude from NSYNC,
Kato Kalin?
he was not on there that I saw.
Oh, he's
It
listening.
might be an older season.
Wow.
Cool. Maybe this is okay. That's why I thought it was a huge cast.
But that dude from NSYNC, every time he's on camera, they made an NSYNC reference. Like, I guess, like, the voting, the vetoed his vote. I guess they just weren't in sync this time. To the point where it was like, you if you made a drinking game out of it, you would die in an episode.
That sucks.
And then he got voted out, and it all stopped. Thank God. Because I was like, I liked the dude okay on the show, but eventually I was like, get him out of here because I can't take these references.
why is it so hard to find the fucking cast?
Well, all right, it's Cynthia and Teddy from Housewives, Lamar Odom, the dancer dude whose name I don't
Here
know,
they are.
Carson Kressley.
Carson Kressley, Cynthia
sounds shit
Bailey,
up.
Lamar Odom, Maisha Tate.
Yeah, Maisha Tate. Yeah, she's a Olympics
She's like
skater.
an MMA person.
Oh no, Maisha Tate. Yeah, there was another one who was a skater. Maisha Tate is a
UFC.
fighter.
Todd Bridges, Todrick Hall,
Todrick Hall's the dancer I wasn't aware of.
Shayna Moakler, Chris Kirkpatrick, Chris Kattan, Mirai Nagasu,
That's the skater.
skater, and Teddy Mellencamp.
Yeah, and Teddy Mellencamp was the first person to go.
Who's Teddy Mellencamp?
She was on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Her dad is John Cougar
Cougar?
Mellencamp.
Oh, yeah.
And
Sucking on chili dogs.
Yeah. And she was sucking on getting the first one out. She also got fired from the Housewives for not being interesting.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so what they do on Housewives is if your good stories run out and they can't find any drama for you, or you can't manufacture any
Yeah.
drama, you get demoted to friend of the show. That's what happened to like Camille Grammer.
Ouch.
But Teddy they were just like, you don't need to be a friend. That's fine.
Wow.
They were just done with her. Yeah.
Damn. Iced
Desperate
out.
to get back, I think.
Andrew, start watching it yet or what?
I don't know. He's a fucking loser. He's never going to
I
fall through with anything.
I started a new reality show last night
What'd you start?
that might be like the worst of the worst
Ooh.
ever.
That's fun.
Adults adopting adults.
What?
What?
It's an A&E series.
On human trafficking.
Yes.
Yeah, what the
And, one of the people you're like, they are trafficking this person.
What is it?
Why has no one called the authorities here? Why are the cameras still rolling?
What is it? What's the premise?
Some poor Filipino.
It's like couples who want to adopt an adult for whatever reason.
I don't understand
And
what that
what
means.
could go
what does that
wrong?
mean?
One of the people who's looking to adopt is Prince Frederick, Zsa Zsa Gabor's husband.
Oh, okay.
His it seems like the most manufactured angle was like he wants an heir because he has no one to pass like the Gaar Foundation onto.
Okay.
Yes, Jeff.
I'd like to be that.
Yeah, you can apply. He probably wouldn't like you. The tattoos. Yeah.
You keep saying adults adopting adults, but I don't understand. Like, can you do that?
Yes, apparently you can. And this is a series all about that. And one of them definitely looks like human trafficking.
Yeah?
They're like, oh yeah, we found. Yes, those two are the worst. They're the they're the ones who look
Really?
like the human traffickers. They found a homeless 20-year-old pregnant girl in Austria.
Oh no.
Yeah, and they were like, "Oh, we'll adopt you, and you can come live with us." And the first episode, at the very beginning, they're making a sign to welcome this girl at the airport, and the wife asks the guy in the tie-dye shirt, like, "What are you going to write on the sign?" And he goes, "Well, if it were my sign, I'd write, 'Welcome to Ohio. Where's my blowy?'" And you're like, "Oh, this is awful. This is going to be really bad."
Welcome to Ohio. My wife goes to bed at 8.
Yeah.
Jeez.
It's
Grown adults. Yeah, the unusual.
How does that?
There's 3 episodes out so far. And it's something I've been DVRing, and finally last night I was like, I don't have anything else to watch. I'm going to watch
that's
adults adopting
horrible.
adults. Yeah, it's terrible. You can watch it on A&E, by the way.
I'm rewatching an A&E show, Hoarders.
Oh.
Something about it is so satisfying
Crazy.
because I can just feel superior to someone because they're always but I always feel bad because I realize like everyone who is hoarding, they're either poor and they don't want to throw anything away because they might need it, or they're like suffered severe trauma, like
trauma.
a divorce or somebody. So it's really just sad.
Well, I think, and some of the times, like I wonder about the physiological effects of the hoard on them. Like, do they have like some kind of parasite in them, or is there like some unsanitary condition has like affected their brain and being in that for so long?
Yeah, I feel like the cat people or
Right.
the pet people, there's something.
Like
some sort of
toxoplasmosis going on or something.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really
Because when
bizarre.
they have to clean out your house with hazmat suits on, and then you have to, it's not like, or the plumbing goes bad, and then they come up with workarounds.
Oh, those are awful.
Oh, yeah, and like don't eat while you're watching Hoarders ever, because it's not going to be a good way to eat your lunch.
They did a thing where I think that show used to be 1 hour, and then at one point they like stretched it to 2 hours. It's not nearly as entertaining with 2 hours, I think. Or am I thinking of like, I'm thinking of one of the other ones, maybe like Hoarders, Buried Alive, or because there's a couple.
Yeah, there's spin-off, and as the seasons progress, you can tell they're trying to ramp up the drama or bring in family. And here's the son he hasn't talked to with a crystal meth problem, and he's going to confront,
And in some of the early episodes, my wife and I just rewatched one a couple of weeks ago. In some of the early episodes, they would have like the cleaning specialist spend the night in the house too.
Yes. Yes.
And then they stopped doing that. Like they weren't sure what the format was
It
yet.
just felt like padding a little bit.
Yeah.
They're good. Yeah, there's the cleaning specialist and then the psychologist or whatever. But then they sort of get like confrontate. It's great though.
I was getting my internet fixed a couple of months ago. By the way, did you get your new internet installed
No,
yet?
I have not.
I
They
got
still
mine
haven't
yesterday.
contacted me.
Way to go.
I hate you.
I got mine yesterday. It's super fast.
I hate you.
It's like zoom fast internet.
gonna call them again.
5 gigs, right? Is what it
5
is.
gigabit.
Yeah, 5
Jesus.
gigabit. Yeah. Anyway, not this time because the guy literally just showed up and was done in 5 minutes. It was the easiest thing ever. But the previous
Did
time
they
I
have
was
to
having
replace
some trouble.
your gateway?
No.
Okay.
Because I had just had mine replaced a couple months ago, so it was future.
Which one do you have? Do you have the BGW210?
Yeah,
Never
you have
mind.
that?
Send me a photo of it later.
Fuck am I?
Which one do you have?
Just said some letters and numbers
BGW
really
210,
fast.
220, whatever gets the job done.
PS5.
Mr. Mom there. Anyway, so the guy was there for like 3 hours trying to fix a problem. It ended up being something that they had to call in and fix. But I was just like shooting the shit with him, talking about experiences going, installing and like crazy customers and stuff. And he mentioned hoarding came up, and he said that they are routinely have to go to hoarding houses.
Oh, really?
And they'll just say, no, I can't go in there.
Wow.
Like they'll just be like, I'm sorry, it's not clean enough. And they're like, it's not safe for me to go in.
Yeah.
And he was like, I was like, that can't happen very often. And he was like, it happens more often than you would think. Yeah.
And I remember
Hoarding
once,
is not as uncommon as I guess.
No,
I
I think
would expect it to be.
Yeah, well, I remember once when I lived over on the east side, I was driving down the street. I was going to go down to get coffee at Thunderbird, which is over there on the east side. And I was driving down like a residential street, and there were like I could tell that someone was being evicted from their house, like the sheriff's department's there, and like someone's in the front yard crying, and apparently whoever that was being evicted was a hoarder, because like the front yard was just filled with like garbage.
Yeah.
I was like, man, that's got to be that's a terrible start to the day for someone to be evicted. And like if you're a hoarder, like you see on the show, like you get really attached to your stuff and where it is.
Yeah,
you're very
they
particular
don't look
about
at it as crap.
Right.
They're always like, this is valuable.
And like all of their valuables are just out and like blowing away. Like, man, that sucks for them.
Yeah.
Speaking of internet, I have the dumbest, most first world problem ever. I'm going to complain about it here.
Is it that you told me that you signed up for new internet and then I did it and then I got my new internet installed and they still haven't contacted you?
Oh,
that's part of it. That's definitely part of it. But this is internet.
And I had to delay it for like 2 weeks because of my COVID.
Yep.
This is internet related. In my house, like I've got a lot of like smart home appliances, and one of the things I have is like vents that are on it. Like you can control them via an app, or you can set them like via time. They'll open and close automatically, so you can like direct airflow in your house. They've been offline for over a week now. And
Oh no.
yeah, it's like, oh, I didn't realize they needed the internet. Like, I just want to be able to open and close them from my. Why the fuck do they need to connect to the internet for me to do that? And I contacted support, and they're like, yeah, we're aware, we're having an outage. I'm like, well, when's it going to be fixed? It's been like I have a ladder now. Oh my! Because the reason I have these vents set up on my phone is because like they're high, they're out of reach, or hard to get to. So I have a ladder in one of my rooms. Because like, well, I gotta fucking adjust my vents manually every day now.
Yeah.
Because my vents can't connect to the fucking internet. Why they connect to the internet? They can't connect to whatever goddamn server is. So fucking annoying.
That sucks, dude.
I don't think I have any smart appliance anything in my house.
I got fucking tricked by a dude we used to work with named Bernie to buy a bunch of smart appliances.
He's into all that. Yeah.
He's a fucking asshole. He convinced me to buy like a $300 coffee pot because I could control it from Alexa.
Yeah.
Worst purchase of my entire life.
That's
right in the fucking trash
Really?
can after 6 months. Every time I try to make coffee, it would be like, sorry, the temperature range is the temperature's out of range to make coffee right now. Just try again later, and it would be like room temperature, and I would have to like dump it out and try it. Was
The water
so
was
much
out of
more
temperature
goddamn.
range?
Yeah, it was like so much. It was so much trouble to get this coffee pot to just make coffee that I threw it away. And then I've sworn off smart shit for the most part after that.
But I had a remodel a few years ago, and I had to like unplug all of my smart stuff during the remodel, and then like when it was all done, I had to like plug it all in and get it all going again. My house took a full day to software update. It was the weirdest thing in the world, where it's like, oh, everything in my house has been offline for a couple of months, and everything is pegging my internet to download updates and install shit.
I might go the Luddite route as I get older and just be anti-technology.
I hear there's a great movie coming out for you soon, starring Charlton Copley. You'll really like.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with it.
I'm just thinking that not everyone's a hero, but truly this movie is portraying a true hero. Really showing him in a lot of glory shots.
Fighting the government and
really
keeping
beautiful,
up,
like
fighting technology.
Technology has really been doing him in for a long time, and he just tries to go. What you're saying, goes into the woods, tries to live a modest life. But
Ted Kaczynski?
But he's being. It's called Ted K.
Yeah.
It is. He's trying to live a modest life, Jeffrey.
I don't want to write a manifesto. Or
have you
anything.
seen the trailer for
I'm not
this
looking
movie?
to bomb professors. I
Please.
just
Sorry, I stepped on you.
No.
Sorry.
Please watch the trailer.
The trailer makes it look like Ted Kaczynski's a sympathetic character.
It is.
You're like,
He's like glory shot, like he's putting on these sunglasses at one point, and you're like, "This Ted Kaczynski? What?" And even his portrayal.
Time to hear the other side of the story.
That's it, dude. Other movies that have him, they really only show him as like crazy, like fucking beard and hair and everything. Even in this movie, when he looks like that, he looks like the brawny man. Like like he looks put together. It's really fucking
Well,
weird.
his bombs were so like intricate because he was like making all the pieces by hand. They just couldn't find. They
artisanal.
Were like, well, they were like, we don't know. We don't know.
he's not buying shit. He's making it all. Yeah.
When you learn so much, when you're inundated with so much MK Ultra, like just like subliminals that like you learn how to make these intricate bombs, then really, what's that side of the story? You know what I mean?
I'm going to rephrase what I said earlier.
Yeah.
I want to be a pacifist Luddite.
Oh,
I don't. I
okay.
abhor violence.
Okay.
I always have.
They're showing that movie at Alamo.
It's out already?
Yeah, I think it comes out like soon. I think it comes out like the next couple weeks. I want to see it, but I have to buy a ticket on somebody else's account because I can't. I'm like,
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah.
That's
It comes out this Friday.
there you go. All right, I know.
So by the time this episode comes out, it'll already be out.
Me and Gus are gonna go see it in 4DX. We're gonna get fucking shaking around. It's gonna be awesome.
Get the bomb rumble.
Yeah. It really man, please watch the trailer for this. I cannot.
I will.
It fucking blew me away. I could not
Yeah,
the right phrasing.
poor choice of words, yeah.
The right phrasing. Really could
It
not believe that
nailed
they made
it.
it.
Oh, no.
He ended up killing 3 people?
I don't think it was very many.
I think it was like 2 or 3 people total.
Yeah, and
But
some
he,
people got
he
injured.
mailed a
Yeah.
lot more bombs than that.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, a lot more
Yeah.
injuries.
Killed 3, injured 23.
Yeah. So it's Jeff's hero or whatever he was saying a minute ago.
No. I was just saying that, like, for instance, I have Apple CarPlay is very cool, right? You you get in your car, you turn on CarPlay, you control everything from here, you listen to music or podcasts or whatever until it stops working.
Yeah.
Right,
And then and then it doesn't repair. Ever.
Yeah.
Like and I am just in a situation where I have a car that used to do Apple CarPlay and I have a phone that used to do Apple CarPlay and now they just no longer talk.
That's
And so I want to move to the woods.
Yep.
That's how I feel about video games. Like Nintendo just said they're shutting down the eShop next year for the Wii U and the 3DS. And those are old. And the people were like, they had a Q&A and it was like, well, what about what about online play? And they're like, for now, it'll be fine. But it's like that. I feel that way about all digital stuff.
Yeah.
We're going to have it now.
But to me, so much of like the digital, and I feel this way mostly about video games. It's so ephemeral to me. I know that there is like people want to archive these things and hold on to this stuff, like especially video games or whatever. But like, if I can't play Overwatch in 4 years, I don't fucking care. Like, it's Overwatch. You know what I mean? Like, these things they hold so little meaning.
Right.
They're so, I mean, it's like bubblegum. Like, it's not like Metroid 1 where it was something that I grew up with and it felt like it was this big thing.
But would it be different for someone who's growing up with Overwatch?
And I feel different.
And I understand that, but I don't know who's clamoring, and I don't want to like segment these things or whatever. Fuck the Wii U. Like, I don't know, who cares? It's the Wii U. Who gives a shit? Anything that was on that thing is on Switch. Doesn't matter. That was a holdover console that doesn't nothing to it.
Xenoblade Chronicles X has not been ported out.
You need to buy some glasses just for when you do that, Brian.
Take them out of a case and put them on.
It is true though. Like you go back to like even the Dreamcast days. You buy Phantasy Star Online for $60, and then you can play it online as long as people still give a shit about it. But the second it's not popular anymore, it's like, fucking, you're done forever. Yeah.
Yep. And but
You don't
like,
have rights to those servers for the next 50
that's
years.
where people are talking about games as a service, and you can go like, well, yeah, I don't want that because I want like these games. There's going to be whatever, and then look at consumer spending, and games as a service is the future. I don't like. There's no two ways about it. Look
Game
at
Pass
Xbox,
has been
Game Pass,
so aggressive about it.
and it's working.
Mm-hmm.
It's working. So like, that's what it is. And honestly, like, I can't play a video game for more than an hour anyway. Anymore,
I mean,
so.
I just, however, with all the consolidation that we've seen happen, I just fear the future where it's like you pay your monthly video game bill.
Yeah.
And there's no
absolutely.
competition.
But that's
or
what's
there's
going
no
to happen.
Like diversity in choice. It's not like, right now we benefit, people like we benefit from PlayStation having Horizon Forbidden West as an exclusive. It's like, well, that's not going to come out on Xbox, so they have to innovate and make their own games. Like games get better because it's competition. If we end up with like this one monopoly, it's like, oh, I'm going to pay for this. It's like, then you're just going to get the same shit recycled over and over, low effort.
Counter argument to that, though, is we were there with cable TV in the 90s and early 2000s, and we all bitched about how we wanted a la carte and we wanted to just pay for what we got. Now I have an Amazon, Netflix, Disney Plus, Paramount Plus, Peacock, Hulu, Criterion, ESPN Plus subscription. I have to pay for all of those individually. And when I want to watch something, it's fucking confusing which app I go to do it.
Yeah.
And I wish I could go back in time and kick myself in the dick for complaining about cable.
Well, it's because it was too expensive. They did it
was
in
so
the way
much
we
cheaper
weren't
than what I'm
thinking.
paying
They did it. We were thinking, just take the cable bill, divide the number of channels, and charge that for each channel.
Yeah.
They went in a totally different way,
they did.
which we should have seen coming. We were stupid to think that that's how they would do it.
Yep.
Yep.
Are they going to change PlayStation Now to be something that I want or no?
They're going to come out with their own Game Pass.
Okay.
I think that like people said that's inevitable.
Will it have games on it that I want to play, or will continue to be like PlayStation Now?
I think it'll be better, but what's scarier is Microsoft was like, oh, we don't have any plans to buy PlayStation and Nintendo. They're important to our industry. I think it's going to eventually be like Microsoft's like Jabba the Hutt, and Sony and Nintendo are just like two little birds in cages that it has in the background just for its own amusement. Like they're very important to our industry.
Did you guys see that happening though?
What?
Microsoft being this size?
Yeah.
Like, no, fuck no. When the Xbox came out,
Like I really,
especially after like what a flop the Xbox One was.
Yes.
I know that's what I'm saying. Like I really thought it was over. I thought Sony had fucking.
oh, I thought they were. I thought
sewed
that was
it up.
Yep.
Sewed it up.
After the 360, I'm like, man, Microsoft is hot. Like, what do we
The
get?
Xbox One was a disaster.
Yeah, what's that? Like the 360 was hot, and then Xbox, and then they just fucked it up so bad, and now they went. Money will solve all our problems. And it did.
What
And
I
it
read,
did. It
it's
is.
like you're just reminded, like, oh, Microsoft's a $2 trillion
Yes.
company.
Yeah.
But before, I think what I read was like Bill Gates and Steve Ballmer like hated video games, so like they didn't. It wasn't their deal. But the new guy, Satya Nadella, is all about it. So I think he's just like, yeah, man, buy
Plus,
whatever
like,
you want.
Phil Spencer's been there for a few years and like has like a track record of success, and now it's like, oh yeah, let's put some money behind this endeavor and, let's see where they go.
And it just keeps paying dividends.
I think a lot of the reorganization of first-party Sony studios as PlayStation studios is like the first step in building out PlayStation Now to combat Game Pass down the road. Like now you're seeing a consolidation under a brand that you can hopefully counter this Game Pass stuff.
Have you tried any of the cloud gaming stuff that they offer with Game Pass?
Yes.
It works sometimes until it doesn't, and then you go,
Yeah. Because the second it doesn't work, you're like, fuck this.
It starts doing. It's like watching like an old VHS tape, like where it feels one-to-one. The latency is like great until it desyncs a little bit, and then a scan line goes over the whole. Like everything kind of fuzzes, and a scan line goes over it, and you go, "We're not here yet."
Yeah,
this is
it's getting there. It's way better than it has been in the past. But I think there's a reason they don't charge for that as a separate service. It's like, oh, you get that too.
The best experience is Stadia. Like their tech is really good, but that's all they have.
Aren't they trying to sell that tech now?
Yes, they're going to white label it. They're like, and they've said like, yeah, this is the future. We're not going to.
Okay.
We're
Curious.
not going to make games.
Very curious. Okay. My SIM card stopped working when I was in Chicago. I was thinking more about technology, and then I realized I'm carrying I couldn't do anything with my phone. Then
that SIM card just stopped working.
Don't know. No idea. It just said no SIM card, and I went.
But there is.
So I had to go to an AT&T store, but like for the few hours when my phone didn't do anything, it was that thing of like, I want to be so rich one day that this happens and I can just go, fuck this, and then snap it and then throw it, and then I just have one ready for me. It's already ready to go. And it's perfect. That's what I want. Never will achieve, but that's what I want. It really felt weird carrying this thing around when it didn't connect to anything, and I went, "This camera sucks." Like that's all it did was take photos.
Got a bad camera and a bad phone.
Yeah, and it was like this sucks. So I went to the AT&T store, and the SIM card was like $5, but the guy saw my phone background was Old Dirty Bastard from the Wu-Tang Clan, so he gave it to me for free.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah.
ODB opening those doors.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
That was pretty good. So there you go.
I was another technology thing. I've been watching Euphoria, I don't know, and Jesus, it reminded me for the millionth time how happy I was to have gone to high school before any of this shit.
No kidding.
Like, oh my God. Like, they're just constantly sending nudes and like, they're way cool. I mean, it's HBO Max, so it's like they're living cooler lives. But like, no one fucked in a pool in a party when I was in high. And then kids are just standing around filming it. It just gives me hives watching it. Like, it is terrifying.
Yes, especially having teenage children.
I'm not there yet, but I'm close. Yeah. It's like, oh.
Yeah, the other day I was at the drugstore. I think it was like at a Walgreens, and I was walking out, and I saw like these two teenage girls walking by, like high school age or something, and they walked by and like they had their phones out, and they walked up to like a couple of bird scooters, like unlocked them, and then like rode away on the bird scooters. Like, man, how awesome, how cool! I wish I had technology like that when I was a kid. I was like, No, wait, no.
Yeah.
There's a nightmare behind all that. Like watching that 10 seconds of interaction, like that was cool. Everything else, absolute nightmare.
Right.
Yeah,
You give
because
up
what
a
you
lot
would have
for
done
that.
with
Yeah.
that scooter 5 minutes later.
I graduated in 04. So I'm in that in between of like, I remember before there was internet while I was still young. And then I remember the internet being so pervasive. I remember not having a cell phone, but being like in school and all that stuff. And so I didn't have like a MySpace page.
Yeah.
Like it felt like that was the first thing when I was sort of like a senior, like a senior, something like that. It was like right around like that MySpace time. And I never had one. I was just very like,
You missed out on Friendster, huh?
Oh yeah. I didn't know, no Zynga for me. It was just very like the beginning of that social media. And then as it sort of became more pervasive, I had that conversation with a lot of people of like the Mega 64 guys where it's like, man, we're fucking lucky that we missed
And college.
all of it, dude. I just,
That's why I think I could walk away from it in a couple of years of my older age. As I think I lived, luckily as a Gen X, I was able to live in both worlds.
Yeah.
pretty far along. Like, how old are you, Brian?
45.
45. Yeah, I'm
Almost
46.
46,
So
yeah.
So like I was an adult before the internet.
Right.
I mean, it existed obviously, but fucking
But it was
Al Gore
more
was back
like
there working on it.
It was
but
specialized. It was like if you went to like
It was
the
a
back of
tool
a
I
hobby
used in the
store and there were
army.
a bunch of dudes
Or-
painting figurines. That was kind of the
It was also like, let me go online. Like it wasn't pervasive. It's like
Yes.
you have to go out of your
Right.
way. Like I'm going to connect. I'm going to do this. I'm going to disconnect. And now, that's over there.
And like I've even started getting the paper again, the physical paper.
Oh, nice.
And it's awesome. And and it's way better than looking at shit on my phone. And I do think that I'm fortunate in that I lived long enough in the way the world used to work that it's not anathema to me, the idea of it.
Yeah, you can still, know how to navigate it.
Yeah, and honestly, it's a lot simpler to navigate.
You can Dewey Decimal with the best of them.
Yeah. And as I'm 46, in another 10 years, if God willing, I'll get to retire at some point in my life, 10, 15, 20 years. And then I won't need social media and I won't need all of this stuff to maintain the career. I could really just I would really love to just disappear.
Yeah,
in the
you don't need
world
to put
and-
your brand out there.
Yeah, and live a quiet life. In much the way that I imagine my parents probably lived in their 40s and 50s.
It's definitely like the use of it. I don't like interacting. I like just kind of like screaming into a void, and it helps with the career kind of aspect of it to have the brand and have a following and like that kind of
You
a
have
thing.
to.
But like one day it will just be like, no thanks.
Yeah.
because I won't need it. I don't need that. I need it for career, for work, and everything right now.
Yeah, right.
But past this, it's like I don't give a shit about this. It means nothing. It's so again, it's like bubblegum. It's so fucking ephemeral.
Like anything I have to say, I say on a microphone.
Yeah.
And then at some point, I could just turn the microphone off. I don't really have anything important to say. No, at some point, people are going to be like, we heard you say nothing for 20 years. That's enough. Yep. Go be quiet in the corner.
Yeah, like all the stuff I think about retirement too now, and I'm like, I just want to like, have my bills paid, like eat out whenever, and like do stand-up sets.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that doesn't, none of
Do
that
your
is
thing,
internet.
yeah.
And I guess play video games, but you
and-
don't really. I guess you probably will need the fucking internet.
Well, I think I could probably walk away from video games because I'm really just down to Gems of War at this point.
Jesus Christ.
Played it for about an hour this morning. Yeah, I forgot what I was going to go with that. But anyway, I totally agree. Like, I'm really looking forward to the time in my life when I can just relax and not care about the
Speaking of
maintenance
not
this stuff.
talking into a microphone, let's stop. Let's not.
Okay.
Let's stop talking
Go
into a
to-
microphone.
Okay.
Go to rtxevent.com and buy your tickets so you can see this in person.
Yeah, you don't have
Yeah.
to worry about the microphone.
No.
This won't be between us.
No, it'll
It's
just be a
face-to-face.
conversation that we have. When you get off, before we go, when you get off the internet, can you just not post that you're going to get off the internet? Can you not be one of
do
those
it.
people? Can you just fucking do it? And
Yeah,
can you not-
I'm not gonna make a big production out of it.
I am taking a social media
Oh, I
break.
hate that.
Yeah,
Grow up.
yeah. I'm just gonna delete the app.
All right. Like Eric said, come see us this July. RTXEvent.com. Come see us in Austin.
Also, don't forget, sometime in May, our new podcast is starting. It's me, Gus, and Eric. Not that you've been excluded, Brian. You just weren't there but we'll get you in as a guest.
Yeah, we have
talked
room for
about-
guests.
We have room for guests. We already talked about it. It's called Good Morning, Gus.
Mind your business.
I still don't
It's got
know
two
what the real
titles.
one is.
And according to Eric said it was real good. He said the first 20 minutes was me hosting, then the second 20 minutes was Gus hosting, and then the last bit we figured it out and we were just having a conversation.
Yeah, and then it was them both hanging out and going, "Oh, fucking right," and that was it.
Apparently, when you put two hosts from different
It
podcasts
was hard.
together,
I know when we were recording, it was hard early on. You were talking, your team was like, it was hard to not
Yep.
jump in.
Yeah.
Yep, there
All
you
right.
have it.
Anyway,
Goodbye.
we'll see you guys next time.
Goodbye, Gus.
Bye. No.